The collapse of Kamala. Good morning, Kuhner country. Okay, my friends, holy shamoli. It has been now the week from hell for Kamala Harris, politically speaking anyway. First, you had the attempted second assassination of Trump, which obviously failed. But what did that do? It gave Trump another boost in the polls because clearly now the sympathy factor is all with Trump. People now realize the deep state is out to get him. And if the deep state is out to get him, there's got to be something to what Trump is saying about the fact that the swamp needs to be drained. And so what you're now seeing in poll after poll after poll is now independents, undecideds are now beginning to switch over to Donald Trump. And the most troubling poll yet, and remember, this has been one of the most accurate polling firms over the last decade. Listen now to this. Rasmussen Reports came out yesterday with their daily tracker, their daily tracking poll. As of yesterday, Trump now has an 8-point national lead on Kamala Harris. Now, other polls are saying it's much closer, obviously, but they're oversampling Democrats. Rasmussen is by far, and has been for a long time, the most accurate, the most reliable, the most fair of all the polls. And what they are now saying is that Donald Trump now is leading Kamala Harris by 8 percentage points nationally. If you break that down into the battleground states, it's even worse. And if you want to know why, Trump was in New York a couple days ago at a major rally, and it was raucous. The energy, the momentum, you can feel it in the air. Why is Trump now in heavily Democrat territory? Because his internal polls now show he is within striking distance. Now, if Trump is able to flip New York, I don't think he will, to be honest. I think he'll come close, but I don't think he'll do it. I hope I'm wrong. I want to be wrong, but I don't think he will. But if he does flip New York, the election is over. As Trump said last night, I win New York, it's over. I mean, it's gone. It's over. So Kamala now is collapsing on multiple fronts. And Trump now has all of the momentum. He is surging in the polls. It is now starting to become too big to rig. And what now I'm urging Trump? Pedal to the metal. Pedal to the metal. We have over 40 days, just over 40 days left until the election. Do not let up. Barnstorm every key swing state, up and down, blitz them, and keep putting the pressure on Kamala Harris. Now, while all of this is going on, and believe me, 8 points nationally is an insurmountable lead. Insurmountable. They cannot manufacture that many votes. I mean, in theory, if you want to get into the weeds, they can. But then it's an obvious steal. You'll have more voters voting than are registered to vote, which means there's blatant fraud, which means the whole system is going to be exposed, and they're going to be facing a massive crisis of legitimacy. So we are now in the territory of it is too big to steal. Now, that's what's happening on the Trump front. Kamala is now starting to dig her own political grave. She is avoiding any and all press conferences. I believe it is now, don't quote me on this, is it now, what, the 50th day? You got on 49, 50, 51, whatever it is. It's basically 50 days. She has not done a press conference. Unprecedented. Never in the history of any American presidential campaign has any candidate avoided simple, obvious questions from reporters than Kamala Harris, what she's been doing now. And the reason is obvious. She is horrible at answering questions. She's not nimble. She can't pivot. She's frozen. She's paralyzed. 1, with insecurity. 2, she's not bright. 3, her core is that of a Marxist, a radical progressive leftist. She is the daughter of a Marxist professor. She is the daughter of a Marxist cancer breast researcher. She's a red diaper doper baby. She was raised in a communist home. It is in her blood. It is in her bones. It is who and what she truly is. And as Bernie Sanders said, Kamala is me. She believes everything I believe. But she's just being quote-unquote pragmatic, i.e. lying, in order to help get herself elected. So make no mistake about it. That's her problem. She can't hide who she is. And now she went to Oprah Winfrey. Oprah to try to rescue her flailing campaign. This is now what it's come down to. Softball, pathetic interviews from celebrities. Oprah's not even any kind of a journalist. Oprah just interviews Hollywood stars and fawns all over them. She had Kamala Harris on. And while Kamala was on, I want you to picture this. There was Meryl Streep. There was Ben Stiller. All of these Hollywood actors are on a Zoom call, and you see their faces. And they're there to help and encourage Kamala. So Hollywood elites, you see their faces on the screen, and they're smiling, and they're cheering, and they're there to sort of coddle Kamala and try to help her get through the interview with Oprah Winfrey. She can't even handle an Oprah interview. And even then, ay, a couple comes on. They're a young couple. They say they're having a hard time paying their bills. Inflation has really hurt them. And they ask Kamala, what will you do to lower the cost of living? Food, groceries, bills, car insurance, gas, across the board. Listen to her answer. Ay. Roll cut 4, Mike.
We really would love to know what your plan is to help lower the cost of living.
Yeah, first of all, thank you both for being here. And yours is a story I hear around the country as I travel. And in terms of both rightly having the right to have aspirations and dreams and ambitions for your family, and working hard and finding that the American dream is, for this generation and so many recently, far more elusive than it's been. And we need to deal with that. And there are a number of ways. One is bringing down the cost of everyday necessities, including groceries.
How are you going to do it? I mean, it was an absurd answer. Even the Zoom couple were looking at each other. I mean, you could see their faces. They're like, that's your answer? What? So it's another word salad. In other words, it's BS. I was shocked. No, because her answer to everything is, I come from a middle-class family. Like, it doesn't matter what you ask her, you know? Israel and Iran are on the verge of a major war. You have any comment, Madam Vice President? I come from a middle-class family, and I was raised with middle-class values. Yeah, okay. This one, notice, didn't answer the question at all. The American dream is slipping. It's elusive. I understand your aspirations. Yeah, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Because you and Biden created this mess. Nothing. How are you going to lower the cost of living? Well, we're going to lower the cost of groceries. Okay, how? but we're just going to lower the cost of groceries. Well, you have to trust the party. Don't. We don't do specifics. We don't do solutions. We don't do policies. Hey, come on. Let's shake our shoulders. Let's dance a little. Come on, it's a campaign of vibes and joy. Come on, feel it. Oprah, let's go, baby. Move it, girl. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Pathetic. Pathetic. Now, she's been asked this question again and again and again. She can't answer it. She's been asked the other question. I mean, these are the two most obvious, simple questions, the most basic questions. The other one is, are you better off now than you were 3.5 years ago? She can't answer it. That's why she's sinking like a stone in the polls. The irony now is she thinks, well, let me do these softball celebrity interviews. And by the way, those Hollywood elites are gushing. Yeah, we love you, Kamala. The more she does these interviews, the more viewers are turned off and breaking towards Trump. Your calls, your reaction next. .621 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's bulldozer. Okay, even with all these celebrities now pushing and propping and doing everything they can to coddle her and drag her across the finish line, it don't work. It's not working. Now, Sandy made a really good point to me off air. She said, Jeff, honestly, she goes, I really think you're doing the listeners a disservice, and Kuhner Country in particular, by calling it an interview. That wasn't an interview. That was a rally. Like, that was a rally masquerading as an interview. And she's right. She really, honestly, Sandy's completely right. I mean, this wasn't even softball questions. This was Oprah Winfrey fawning all over her, cheering her on every step of the way. All these Hollywood celebrities, and you see their faces on these Zoom calls, applauding her, smiling at her, thumbs up, cheering her on. Everything she said, brilliant, awesome, oh my God, oh so cool. I mean, this wasn't an interview, really, seriously. This was a pep rally, you know? And so, look, to show you how superficial, frankly, how pathetic the whole thing was. And again, that's why she's dropping in the polls. Because they think this is going to work. You got people who are leaning Democrat. They want to vote for her. I'm talking, these are millennials, Generation Z, like that Zoom couple that I played before the break. And they're like, look, we can't pay our rent. We're paying hard time paying groceries. We're barely making ends meet. Like, wink, wink. We really want to vote for you. So what are you going to do to lower the cost, the cost of living? She doesn't answer. She literally doesn't answer. I've never seen a candidate do this. I mean, sometimes it's a bad answer, or the solutions will be even worse than the problem. You know what they say, the cure is worse than the disease, but at least it's something. I mean, agree, disagree, there it is. I've never seen this. I acknowledge your aspirations. The American dream is becoming elusive. I see this all over the country, and we need to do something about it. And I'm going to lower the cost of your groceries. And I'm going to lower the cost of everything else. Well, how? Well, I have a magic wand. So when I become president, I couldn't use it while I'm vice president because it's only for presidents. But once you make me president, click, I'm going to wave my magic wand and it's all going to go down. He's +8 now in the Rasmussen Reports Daily Tracker, +8 nationally. +8. She's in trouble. She's bleeding. She's bleeding big. Now, here's more pep rally stuff. You see, this stuff works in Hollywood when you're dealing with gazillionaires who are completely disconnected from reality, who have no morals, no principles, who hang out with P. Diddy for years and have these, what is it, freak-offs, as they're called? You know, orgies, sex parties, using kids as sex slaves. That's Hollywood, okay? And many now prominent Democrats are getting ensnared. That's what they do. So they think BS is brilliance because their whole lives are BS. Seriously, that's what it is. But the most ordinary people, it's just BS. So, listen now to this. This is Kamala Harris fawning Oprah Winfrey. And Oprah now asks her about, what is this movement of yours all about? Tell us, Kamala, what are you all about? Roll cut 6A. Try not to throw up. Try not to gag. Roll cut 6A, Mike.
And this movement that we're in about, as I like to say, seeing in the face of a stranger a neighbor.
Yes.
Right? An extension of love thy neighbor, that you literally in the face of a stranger see a neighbor.
Yes.
And approach each other with that level of dignity and grace and kindness.
Well, that's exactly what happened with the win with black women.
And this movement that we're...
When you see a stranger, you see a neighbor. Who came up with this BS? And she's like, yes, oh my God, yes. I mean, I'd make a sex joke now, but I don't want to get, I don't want to get attacked. I don't want to get criticized. But it was like, yes, oh my God, Kamala, yes. I mean, this is, okay. I'm sorry. Whatever you're thinking, whatever the two of you have going on here, okay? So, what does that mean? It means what? Giving illegals amnesty? What does that mean? Giving illegals what? $25,000 so they can get their own home? It means what? Free college? Free health care? I see a stranger, I see a neighbor, take my money?
And this movement that we're in about, as I like to say, seeing in the face of a stranger a neighbor.
Yes.
Right? An extension of love thy neighbor, that you literally in the face of a stranger see a neighbor.
Yes.
And approach each other with that level of dignity and grace and kindness.
Well, that's exactly what happened with the win with black women.
And this movement that we're
6:32 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's bulldozer. Mike is on fire off air. I mean, he's in my ear, and he's like, as he's listening to Kamala with this, it wasn't even a rally. Sorry, it wasn't even an interview. Sandy's right. It was a rally, masquerading as a celebrity interview. Anyway, Mike is like, yeah, says the woman who's demonizing half the country. We're all Nazis and white supremacists and fascists. But see a stranger as a neighbor. And he's like, they got to see through this fraud, Jeff. That's what he's telling me. He goes, Jeff, please tell me they're seeing through this fraud. Yes, that's why your poll numbers suck. That's why. Now, look, people are texting me 70470. 70470. And this is a beauty from 207. Jeff, when you see a stranger, you see a neighbor? Question mark? You mean like building 8-foot fences around your Maui mansion, Oprah? Or 207 continues, or keeping anyone a country mile away from your beachfront villa on Martha's Vineyard, Barry? Barack Obama? I mean, I swear, the BS from these people, I'm telling you. And so, look, now they think that Hollywood is going to carry her over the finish line. It's because you don't see it in the audio. Trust me, in the visual, it's Hollywood celebrity after Hollywood celebrity. So you see their faces during the entire interview between Oprah and Kamala. And they're laughing and yucking it up been they're fist bumping and fist pumping, and you should see them. Oh, we love you, Kamala. We love you. Yeah, you go, girl. You rock, girl. While the guy who's connecting with the ordinary person on the ground is Trump. Now, you want to see how fake her support is? Oh, they do love her in Hollywood. There's no question. The elites love her. But she's thin on the ground, and that's where it matters. I want you to listen now to this, okay? You got to hear this. So, apparently now, it's been found out. They are tracking the cell phones that go to all of the Kamala rallies. 90% have been to the last two. 54% of the rally goers were at Arizona and Georgia. In other words, it's all the same people that keep going to her rallies. They're just recycling. They're paying them, and they're busing them across the country. Their job is just to show up at her rallies. Her support is completely and entirely contrived. It's all made up. It's AstroTurf. Now, let me play. Bought and paid for. Yeah, you're right, Sandy. Bought and paid for. Her support is completely bought and paid for. And that's starting to really show now in the polls. Now, very, very quick, because I want to go to the phone lines. Oprah lied. Again, they're all lying. Listen now to how she introduced Kamala Harris. Remember, they got to do this whole, I'm from a middle-class family. I know what it is to work. Well, what's your experience in the private sector? Roll cut 6B. Mike.
Unfold the way it has. From a child of immigrants to big sister to McDonald's worker. There is hope for y'all. District attorney, a wife, and mamala to senator to vice president. Please welcome Kamala Harris.
Now, that's an interview. Yeah. I'm telling you, when you ask her campaign, well, is Kamala going to do any interviews? She goes, well, she just did one with Oprah. Oh, yeah. Well, that was some tough, hard-hitting questions. Woo. But again, the lie about working at McDonald's. It doesn't matter how many times it's been debunked. They just keep repeating it and repeating it and repeating it and repeating it. She never worked at McDonald's. In fact, she's never worked an honest day her entire career. Everything has been at the public trough. She's never had a job in the private sector, ever. That's why she doesn't know what she's talking about. That's why she sounds so utterly incoherent and incomprehensible, frankly, ignorant and stupid on basic economic issues. So, you want to know why Trump is surging in the polls? This is why. See, the fundamental flaw in the Kamala campaign, and then I'm going to open it up and I want to take all of your calls. This is their fundamental flaw. It is their arrogance. It is their condescension. It is their hubris. They think that we are so stupid that we're going to fall for this dreck. That we're going to fall for this Hollywood production. This obvious, blatant, patent lie of a campaign. And they go, the rubes out there in flyover country. Oh, boy, are they dumb. Oh, they'll swallow this. Oh, yeah. Hook, line, and sinker. And, we may be dumb. We may be stupid, as I like to say, but we're not that stupid. Okay? In fact, honestly, I think we're very intelligent, obviously. But I'm just, for effect. No, we're not that stupid. Sorry. No. The American people are seeing through her, and that's her problem. And I'm telling you, they're locked in now. They're locked in. She's like the Titanic. And I got to give Biden his due on this, okay? To give the devil his due. Biden predicted it. He kept saying, you really want her on the campaign trail? All of you have forgotten how bad she is on the campaign trail? How utterly stupid and ignorant and fake and inauthentic she comes across? You all forgot 2020 that quickly? You haven't seen her for the last 3.5 years as my vice president? Like you, hello? Are you guys that dumb? Okay, you want Kamala? You're gonna get Kamala. Okay, I'm bowing out. And I'll endorse her. By endorsing her right away, or within 30 minutes, he cut off any chance of a primary. So he forced the establishment to go with Kamala. And he said, okay, Kamala, you want to stick the knife in me? You guys want to overthrow me? Now I'm going to saddle you with her. And you watch. You watch. Never mess with a Biden. You watch. She's now like an albatross around their neck. And she's going to take them down. Trump is not an overconfident man. Trust me when I tell you this, okay? He knows what's at stake. He knows what this election means, in fact, for him, his life, his safety, his security, whether he'll go to jail, his family, his financial empire, and obviously what's at stake for the country. So he's not taking anything for granted. He doesn't have an overconfident bone in his body. As of this morning, as I speak to you, Donald Trump and his team can now smell the White House. They're so close, they can smell it. 617-266-6868 is the number. Mark in Salem. You're going to kick us off, Mark. Thanks for holding and welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. Yeah, I don't understand what her substance is. I mean, Wendy's used to have a commercial about 40 years ago. Where's the beef? She's talking a middle-class tax cut. What is it going to be? I know what I got, a tax cut with Trump, but she's ridiculous.
Well, Mark, look, I'm running for president, okay? I mean, I can't. I was born in Canada, and I agree with that, by the way. I don't think a naturalized American should be allowed to run for president, okay? But just humor me, Mark, okay? I'm running for president, and I'm asking you for your vote. And you ask me the most basic question. So, Jeff, my gas, my food, my groceries, my energy bills, my car insurance, my rent, my mortgage, it's through the roof. What are you going to do to lower my cost of living? And my answer to you is, Mark, I come from a middle-class family. You're thinking, okay, so what? Well, and I hear this complaint all the time, Mark, around the country. People are suffering. I hear you're suffering, Mark. You're like, okay, what are you going to do about it? Mark, the American dream is becoming elusive, Mark. And, we got to return to aspirations. We got to have an aspiration society. Mark, people have to be able to dream again. And you're like, yeah, hey, dude, answer my question. And then I end with, so you elect me, and Mark, I'm going to lower everything for you. Just, you got to elect me. And I'm going to lower your groceries and your food and your gas and your car insurance. But, so you elect me, and I'm going to lower your cost of your necessities. Now, what are you going to conclude? You're going to say this guy's a BS. This guy's a clown masquerading as a presidential candidate. Mark, I'm telling you, that's what the country's concluding.
Up in the morning, love. And the sunlight hurts my
649 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. Anthony in Michigan. Thanks for holding, Anthony, and welcome.
Dr. Kuhner, I think Sandy should come up with a new theme song for Kamala. It should be that song by Edie Brickell from the 90s, I'm Not Aware of Too Many Things, with Bob Weir in the background playing guitar from the Grateful Dead. But seriously, Jeff, in regards to Rasmussen, not to bring up Barris again, but he was talking about Rasmussen, Atlas, Trafalgar, and Barris have been kicked out of the Rear Clear Politics average because they're so accurate. That polling has become almost an op so it doesn't even matter anymore. I think Trump is widening the lead, and I think the last time I spoke with you guys, there was, try to make the analogy, it's like commission sales, and she's not on pace, and it's basically over for her. I think there's one issue that I don't know if you've brought up on the show, this whole Make America Healthy Again movement. And I don't know if you saw when Trump introduced JFK on the stage in Arizona, and JFK mentioned this couple. No,
sorry. You mean RFK? I know you mean RFK, but
yes.
You're saying JFK. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I understand. Go ahead.
He mentioned Callie and Casey Means, who were on Tucker, and it's a brother and sister team. That one was a lobbyist, he gave up lobbying, and the sister was an eye surgeon, she gave it up because they've almost gone musty in first principles to realize our food, ag, pesticides world are not making us healthy. And these are going to be people that are going to be centric in the Trump administration. And I want to take you back to this bipartisanship and this Make America Healthy Again. Barnes was talking about this. Do you remember when Trump was bringing everybody to Trump Tower in 2016, just before he was inaugurated? Do you remember who was coming in? He had people like Jesse Jackson, Cornel West, retired Ford executive Bob Mullally, and Tulsi Gabbard, and I think he had RFK Jr. Apparently, back then, he was working on a bipartisan cabinet, but that Stroons, Chris Christie talked him out of it. Jeff, I keep saying, many ways, the Trump administration before and this one coming up, he's kind of JFK in his approach. It's a centrist American. I say this to people, and they look at me like I'm nuts. But this Make America Healthy Again thing, Jeff, is going to be a big deal.
Oh, I think there's no question. And look, we've been talking a lot on this show over the years of big pharma, but I'm with RFK Jr., big agriculture, big ag as they call it, and all the processed foods and everything now we're finding out about what they're putting in our food supply. This is going to become an increasingly important issue. And, I got to say this, Anthony, and I don't want to turn this into a history classroom. I don't, because I think it's mostly bad radio. I mean, a little history is fine, but too much, either, then people say, well, just, Jeff, do your own podcast on history. I get it. But, I've been thinking about this. Really, Donald Trump, if you really want to know who he resembles the most, to me, it's very clear. It's Theodore Roosevelt. He really is the 21st century of TR. And if you remember, TR was, from your history books, TR was hated by the elites, the political elites, the media elites, the cultural elites. They despised him. And in fact, they said very similar things about him that they say about Trump, that he's crude. That TR was crude. He was coarse. He was vulgar. He was a cowboy. He was a man of action, but had no sophistication to him whatsoever. But like TR, Trump is a nationalist. Trump is a patriot. And what TR did was he took on, they called them trusts at the time. We call them oligarchs today. Or, corporate power, or however you want to phrase it. Then it was called trusts. He basically took on that time's equivalent of big ag and big pharma and big tech and big business and big government on behalf of the people, and they loved him for it. He was a true modern day populist, and that's why he is one of the great beloved presidents. And he was a nationalist, he was a patriot, he was an America firster, and he had a force of nature, just like Trump, irrepressible, unsuppressible. So I look at Donald J. Trump, and I'm saying, really, he is in that line, that vein of great American presidents like Theodore Roosevelt, and the elites constantly underestimated him. And I'm telling you, they're underestimating Trump again. You're completely right. This Make America Healthy Again movement has millions and millions of people that are saying, you know what? He's right. And many of them used to be on the left, but now they're coming over into the MAGA camp. And they're coming over into the Trump camp. And I think that's why, look, it's why he's doing so well in New York. It's why he's doing so well in New Jersey. I mean, these are deep blue states. He's within striking distance. By the way, Minnesota, even though they have Walz on the ticket, Minnesota, you can look at the numbers. They're neck and neck. So, I mean, he's, we're talking Minnesota, we're talking New York, we're talking New Jersey. Even if he doesn't win those states, the fact that he has to force the Democrats to spend time, money, resources, precious capital, holding their serve, as they say, defending their ground, that means Trump has more time, more money, more opportunity to rack it up in the battleground states. Look, the Democrats privately are very nervous, Anthony in Michigan. They're very nervous. And I know they're nervous about Michigan because this war is not going to end. Biden can't end the war. And the Arab Americans in Michigan have made it clear they're not going to vote for Kamala. They may not vote for Trump, but if they don't vote for Kamala, Trump's going to win. So as I look at it right now, in terms of the battleground states, Arizona and Nevada are going to fall to Trump. Trump is now ahead in North Carolina. Trump is ahead in Pennsylvania. Trump is ahead in Georgia. Trump is ahead in Michigan. The only place where he may lose is Wisconsin. That one is on a razor's edge, leaning Democrat. But look, all he's got to do is take Arizona and Nevada and North Carolina. And if he wins Pennsylvania, it's over. I mean, in terms of the Electoral College, the path is there. So even if Kamala grinds out Georgia, which I don't think she will, and even takes Michigan, which I don't think she will, and they hold the blue wall with Wisconsin, he still wins. So they're in trouble. And Anthony, they know they're in trouble. Anthony, thank you very, very much for that call. Just very quickly, a little log on the fire. Not a big log, 617-266-6868. But I do think it's interesting. And this was from Peter, who messaged me on Messenger. And he said, Jeff, the Democrats, they should have kept Biden. He's being serious. I'm like, yes. I messaged him right back. I go, I agree. Look, not that Biden was great. Please, far from it. He was heading towards a defeat. But I'm telling you, now you may disagree with me on this. I'm telling you, Biden is a better candidate than Kamala Harris. Here, I'll just give you an example, okay? And someone else made a very good point to me as well on Messenger, saying, Jeff, with Biden dropping out of the race, the Teamsters now have not endorsed Kamala Harris, and they won't endorse Kamala Harris. In other words, had Biden stayed in the race, I bet the Teamsters would have endorsed Biden. I mean, 60% of the rank and file are still going to vote for Trump. But at least they would have had that formal endorsement. What I'm saying is, for all of his dementia, for all of his obvious mental and physical decline, Joe Biden had 50 years in Washington. Joe Biden, when he was awake, when he was, sharp, which wasn't often, at least knew something about what he was talking about. Look, if you ask Joe Biden, let's be fair to the guy, if you said to him, how are you going to bring down my cost of living? He would have given you some kind of an answer. It may have been a stupid answer, a rambling answer, an incoherent answer, but it would have been an answer. Or, are you better off now than you were 3.5, 4 years ago? He would have given you some kind of an answer. He would not be doing this. I'm from a middle class family. I know your dreams and aspirations. The American dream is elusive. We must get the American dream back. Vote for me and I'll lower everything. I mean, he wouldn't give you just, nonsense, fluff, just pure garbage, dreck. He would have given you something. Now, it would have been very slow. It would have been rambling. I mean, it would have been, you're just the whole time, you're like, boy, he's too old. Oh, boy, is he in serious decline. But he would have given you something. In other words, he had more stature. Again, not that he had stature, but I'm comparing the two, Kamala versus Biden. He did. He had more stature. He had more gravitas. She's a joke. Really, when you say empty suit, she's a puff of smoke. And, you know, the fact that these celebrities keep endorsing her and praising her, I don't think they realize how many votes they're losing, how they're turning off voters. Because all the voters are thinking is, well, yeah, you're so freaking rich. Obviously, the price of groceries means nothing to you. You know, you don't care that it costs $100 now to fill up the tank. You're filthy rich. You're Hollywood. So the more that the elites praise and circle the wagons around Kamala, the more detached from reality and from the needs and concerns of ordinary citizens she comes across. And I think, honestly, that explains now why Trump is starting to pull ahead in the polls and her support is plummeting. But that's my theory. I want to hear from you. Agree, disagree, 617-266-6868. And let me throw this log on the fire. Seriously, do you think the Democrats would have been better off keeping Biden? They still would have lost, in my view. I think Trump would have mopped the floor. But I do think they would have been better off with Biden. Kamala is worse than Biden, at least on the campaign trail. Agree, disagree? Joe in Rockland. Thanks for holding, Joe, and welcome.
Hey, Jeff.
Hi, Joe.
Thanks for taking my call.
My pleasure.
I always consider myself a Tea Party patriot. Small government, lower taxes, and it just kind of makes me sad that there's really so little talk between these candidates of cutting government spending. We have the House going on right now. They seem like they can't cut anything. They struggle to cut the simplest thing. Our government's completely bloated, out of control, post-COVID. We need to go to pre-COVID spending. And it just doesn't seem like there's enough attention to reducing cutting spending. It doesn't seem like either candidate knows how to articulate the reason how to reduce inflationary costs.
Oh, you're completely right. Look, Joe, I mean, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer on a Friday because the country's always getting bad news. So, you know, it's nice to be a little positive and optimistic because I do think the country will get much better if Trump wins in November, obviously. But the ticking time bomb is the deficit, the national debt, and our out-of-control government spending. You know, like you, I'm a Tea Party conservative. In a way, look, honestly, Joe, if I was to describe myself politically, and of course I'm a big Trump supporter, but I really am a Reagan baby. That was my president growing up. I'm a Reagan conservative at my core. To me, the Tea Party movement was an extension, the next stage of the Reagan Revolution. And so I really am a Tea Party patriot, a Tea Party conservative at my heart. And I'm going to die as a Tea Party conservative. I truly believe in limited government. I believe in balanced budgets. I believe in low taxes. I believe in the rule of law. I believe in giving power, devolving power to the states and the people, and obviously secure borders and you know, strong national defense. But fundamentally, this is going to kill us. Well, look, it just came out 2 days ago. It's now official. I mean, just think about this, Joe. Literally, now it's official. It's on the books. It's official. Our national debt has gotten so big and swollen that the interest on the debt, just the interest, we're not paying a penny in principal, is now $1 trillion. $1 trillion just to finance the debt to finance the interest on the debt. $1 trillion. Now, to show you how much $1 trillion is, it is the biggest expense in the budget. We spend more on the interest on the debt now than we do on our entire military. on all of our social programs, on Social Security, on Medicare, on Medicaid. You can think of any program. We spend more on the interest on the debt. So the taxes that you and I are working for and paying to the government increasingly is just going to pay the interest on the debt. Now, the bankers are getting filthy rich. The globalist oligarchs are getting filthy rich. The elites are getting filthy rich. There's a ton of money to be made off of this. But this is a cancer on our country. It's financially, economically unsustainable. And eventually, it's not a question of if, it's a question of when. Every economist agrees. Every economist. Eventually, it's going to blow. We're going to hit Argentina territory. And we're going to have to default. So, and to show you how fraudulent this whole election is, neither candidate, to be fair, neither Trump, nor Kamala, nor anybody, has been asked a single question on this out-of-control deficit spending and this ticking time bomb of a national debt. And I'm telling you, Joe, it's going to kill us. I mean, literally, it's going to kill us.
The root of the matter, it's the cause of everything. It all goes back to it, and it doesn't seem like anyone has the courage to address it or do anything about it.
Sorry, I missed that first part. It goes back to what?
This goes back to all the issues. This goes back to all of inflation. It's the government spending. It doesn't seem like anybody has the courage to address it. Doesn't seem like anybody wants to even talk about it in Democrat or Republican. I don't hear anything, and we as Americans should be demanding of our government that they need to start reducing their spending, cutting costs, finding ways of saving some money, because I am tired of being taxed in every single way and seeing our money just being thrown down a rat hole.
Well, you're dead on. And look, Joe, this is what blew inflation through the roof under Biden and Harris, was you had all this pent-up demand after COVID, during the COVID lockdowns, and the economy was starting to roar back just by lifting the lockdowns. Well, what did they do? They spent trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars, in particular on the Green New Deal. Okay, so they just, it was a spending blowout. Well, that overheated the economy, and that's what led to the runaway inflation. So you're right. The more the government spends, the more inflation goes up. And then to me, you have the real evil culprit, which is the Federal Reserve. I hate that thing. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. That's like a national credit card but with no limit on it. So the Federal Reserve comes in and says, no problem. We'll just print more money. That's okay. We're running massive deficits. Don't worry about it. We'll just print more money. Well, Joe, as you know, the more money you print, the more inflation you cause. And the value of the dollar gets weaker and weaker. Your purchasing power gets weaker and weaker. And your citizens, like you and me, become more and more impoverished. And that's why, Coca-Cola now costs an arm and a leg. Like everything, bacon, eggs, vegetables, fruits, everything now costs an arm and a leg because of that evil Federal Reserve. So, and obviously the government spending. Those are the two things. We have to control those two beasts. If not, they're going to devour us. Joe, final word to you.
Well, I just wish we could show more leadership. I wish Donald Trump was just a little bit stronger in this. I know he's got this whole Elon Musk thing, but he could really win the election with just talking about this and blowing, just not blowing up the government. That's not the right word, but just cutting all these departments in half. The whole government is out of control, and it all needs to be reduced.
Amen. Amen. Across the board. I'm with you, Joe. Joe, not 100, 1,000%. George in Hull. Thanks for holding, George, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff.
Hi, George.
Joe from Rockland just said everything I wanted to say. But tailgating off that, if Donald Trump would address that issue as in a constructive way, towards nailing Kamala on lowering the national debt by stopping funding for the illegals and stopping the flow of money for the Ukraine. At least that's a start of attempting to lower the debt. What say you?
Oh, I agree. Oh, my. Look, what we're spending on illegals, we're talking hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars a year. Then you add in $250 billion that we have now sent to Ukraine. $250 billion with a B. Now, I'd rather we don't spend that money, like, period. In other words, let's start living within our means, okay? Don't get me wrong, George. Okay, say we spent it on ourselves. The wall completed. Secure, you can militarize the border, no problem. You could deport millions of criminal illegals, no problem. No homeless veterans, no low-income poor Americans sleeping on the streets. We could take care of our homeless problem like this. We'd have roads paved in gold, bridges, infrastructure, rebuild our military. What I'm saying is with that $250 billion, my God, it'd be morning again in America. Instead, George, we flushed it down the toilet. $7:20 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, here's a really, really good point from Larry on Messenger. Jeff, if the Democrats had kept Biden, they could blame the loss on his dementia. But with Kamala, however, her socialist policies are front and center. It's always been blame the candidate for losing, not the loser policies. That is a great point. See, that's another reason why I think they made a mistake by switching to Kamala and overthrowing Biden. Because when Biden would have gone, and he would have gone down in flames, there's no question, they could turn around and say, well, hey, come on. The guy was mentally gone. Okay, so, what do you want? The guy had such serious cognitive decline, he didn't know what year it was. So, but no, our policies are still good. Our agenda is still good. You don't have that excuse now. So, not only is Kamala going to go down, but much of the radical left agenda with her. That's why I believe they made a fatal miscalculation. But that's just me. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay. Now, part of this interview, really this rally with Kamala Harris, was about trying to get her to deal with the Second Amendment and the issue of gun rights. And so this is what Kamala said when asked about, when Oprah says to her, I had no idea you were a gun owner. I had no idea, no. And it was so powerful when you said that at the convention. Roll, cut, 5, Mike.
These are just common sense.
I thought it was so powerful at the convention when you said you have guns. No, at the debate.
I'm a gun owner. Tim Walz is a gun.
I did not know that.
If somebody breaks in my house, they're getting shot.
Yes. I hear that.
Probably should not have said that.
But
okay, so if someone comes into my house and they're getting shot, I shouldn't have said that. By the way, that was so staged. That was so obviously scripted. You can see they rehearsed that ahead of time. So, Pennsylvania, they're big on gun rights there. So what we're going to do is we're going to go on about how you're a gun owner, okay? And I'm going to say, yeah, I thought it was so powerful. And then you say, yeah, Tim Walz is a gun owner. And if someone comes into my house, they're going to get it with both barrels. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, the rednecks will really like that, huh? Those rubes, they'll really go for that. Instead, honestly, it's cringeworthy. It's cringeworthy. Do you honestly, first of all, do you honestly believe she has a gun? Okay, that's number one. Maybe her husband does, but that she personally owns a gun, I don't believe it. Number two, you really think this woman's shooting anybody who comes into her house? Seriously? Like, you really believe that? This? Her? Are you serious? Now, here's another problem she has, and it's why she's going to lose Pennsylvania, okay, and other states as well. Arizona, big issue out there as well. So, here is her. Now, she's trying to claim, on the one hand, she's not going to take anyone's guns away, that she respects the Second Amendment. That's one side of her mouth. But the other side of her mouth, well, no, I want an so-called assault weapons ban. And why do I want an assault weapons ban? You know, AR-15s, etc. For, you guessed it, the children. It's all about the children. This is her with Oprah. Roll cut 5A. Mike.
I'm not trying to take everyone's guns away. I believe in the Second Amendment, but we have to agree that, look, I did last fall a college tour with college-age young people, so I also did trade schools. And packed audience every time in their auditorium, and I would ask, please raise your hand if at any point between kindergarten and 12th grade you had to endure an active shooter drill. Almost every hand went up. It was bone-chilling.
Yeah, this is the way our kids are living. Yeah.
Okay, look, first of all, look, I find school shootings absolutely, abominable. Okay? To me, it's disgusting. It's reprehensible. Why? I have 2 kids in school. God forbid, I don't want them to ever be a victim of a school shooting. That goes, that's obvious. That goes without saying. But, I mean, come on. This is getting ridiculous. Do you know how many times we had to evacuate our school over and over again? Fire drills, nuclear bomb drills. Do you know how many times we did nuclear bomb drills? The Soviet Russia and the United States are going to exchange nukes. So if there is a nuclear war, hide under your desks, or you have to leave the school and we're going to put you here. And it's okay. No one died. No one was traumatized. No one was terrorized. But this is the real Kamala. Mike, how much time left? Okay, I'm going to play it on the other side. This is her. A few years ago, when asked by a reporter what she really wants to do with people's guns. Oh, I've got that next. 7:31 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, so she says she doesn't want to take anyone's guns away. She says that legal gun owners, nothing to fear from Comrade Kamala. No. That's what she told Oprah. Okay. This is what she told reporters in 2007. Trust me, you're going to want to hear this. This is the real Kamala. Roll cut 5B. Mike.
Behaviors among everybody in the community, and just because you legally possess a gun in the sanctity of your locked home doesn't mean that we're not going to walk into that home and check to see if you're being responsible and safe in the way you conduct your affairs.
So there you go. So you may have you may legally own your gun. You may even have it legally stored away. But we have the right to come into your home. Think about this. We're going to come into your home. And we're going to see if you're being responsible with your gun. Now, by the way, that's a complete violation of the Fourth Amendment, number one. Okay, in other words, it's a complete violation of your private property rights. So, like a Gestapo thug, a jackbooted thug, you're just going to come into our homes now? and say, where's your gun? Well, I bought it legally. It doesn't matter. Show it. Go. Where do you have it stored? Show it to me. I don't have to show you anything. Show it to me. I don't know if that's properly stored. Let's take a look. She's going to go into people's homes. That's what she wants. Because let me tell you the dirty little secret. And she said it again and again and again. She has supported in the past, up until a couple years ago, a mandatory gun buyback program like they did in Australia. You had no choice in the matter. You know, as Pelosi told Biden, Joe, we can do this the hard way or the easy way. Well, in Australia, they basically told all the gun owners, we can do this the hard way or the easy way. Either you hand over all your guns and we'll cut you a check and we'll pay you whatever it is, a couple $100 a gun or whatever it is, or we're going to come in and we're going to freaking confiscate them. And if you stand in our way, we're going to shoot you dead. So we can do this the hard way or the easy way. Now, that's what Kamala Harris supports. And of course, because she's against the First Amendment. She doesn't believe in freedom of speech. She doesn't believe in freedom of expression. She clearly believes that hate speech should be censored. That if you say anything critical of the regime, or if you're spreading misinformation or disinformation, misinformation or disinformation, like Hillary Clinton, you should be locked up. So why would she support the Second Amendment? The Second Amendment backs and supports the First Amendment. So yeah, is she a gun grabber? Of course she's a gun grabber. Because she's a communist thug. And when communists implement their revolution, the first thing they got to do is they've got to confiscate and take the guns. Remember, never forget this. It's one of the great truisms of history. An armed citizenry is a free citizenry. A disarmed citizenry is easy pickings to be an enslaved citizenry. Why? Because you're defenseless. So all this talk about, I have a gun, I have a gun, and I would shoot somebody if they broke into my house. Bull crap. Okay? Are you serious? No, she wouldn't shoot anybody that came into her home. That's another lie. Like the claim that she worked at McDonald's was a lie. That she comes from a middle-class family, that's a lie. I could go on and on and on and on. Every second word out of her mouth is a lie. So, what is her campaign then fundamentally all about? When everything is said and done, with all the Hollywood glamour and glitz and all these Hollywood advisors now doing her hair and her face and her makeup and her clothes and telling her to say these empty, meaningless platitudes, to run a campaign that's content-free, this marketing campaign like she's a consumer product. In the end, what is Kamala Harris selling to the American people? What is it all about? You want to know what it's about? Here it is. This is her in this pep rally masquerading as an interview with Oprah Winfrey. Roll cut 6, Mike.
One of the greatest expressions of patriotism is to fight for the ideals of who we are, which includes freedom to make decisions about your own body, freedom to be safe from gun violence, freedom to have access to the ballot box, freedom to be who you are and just be, to love who you love openly and with pride, freedom to just be. And that's who we are. We believe in all that. And so this is a moment where we stand knowing what we are fighting for. We're not fighting against. It's what we're fighting for.
Thank you. Thank you. Madam Vice President.
I swear, I'm telling you, I got to tell you, man, it's good camp. It really is. I mean, it's good comedy. You watch this, I mean, it's just like, so patently phony and fraudulent, you know? So patently rehearsed and scripted. And there's Oprah. Thank you. Look, the freedom to be. She thinks she sounds like Shakespeare, I'm telling you. She think, like drinky, drinky, drinky. Okay, like a typical boozer and alcoholic. They think they say really profound things, and it just comes across as frankly juvenile and stupid. Drinky, drinky, drinky. Well, the freedom to be. Oh, I'm so profound. Oh my God, I'm Kamala, I'm a genius. What she's really saying is this, and she said it. The freedom to quote unquote control your own body. Abortion. That's what it all comes down. You want to know her campaign? I'll give it to you really in one sentence. 1, I hate Trump. You hate Trump. Vote for me. That's all. Pure Trump hatred. Pure Trump derangement syndrome. That's it. I hate Trump. And B, abortion. And I'm not just talking about abortion rights. She is a radical on abortion. She is an extremist on abortion by any measure or standard. She is a complete and utter radical and extremist on abortion. And you're going to be saying, Jeff, how can you say this? I'll tell you why. Because she supports abortion on demand from conception literally all the way until birth. In other words, she supports abortion in the 7th month, in the 8th month, in the 9th month, in the final trimester. Every European country, you don't get more progressive, more quote-unquote liberal, more permissive on abortion issues, and frankly on other issues as well, than a Sweden or Norway or Finland, the Scandinavian countries, or Denmark or the Netherlands or France, or I could go on. I don't, what, are they all now suddenly right-wing fascist countries? They ban abortion after 4 months. I think the max is Sweden 5 months. Because they go up to 4 or 5 months, fine, it's a woman's right to decide. After 5 months, you're starting to enter the final trimester. It's banned. Why is it banned? Because then it's a baby inside the body. The so-called fetus is becoming now a human being. It's a human being. It's got a head. It's got lungs, feet, arms. You can see it. Now, Australia, the same thing. New Zealand, the same thing. I could go on. So we are literally one of the few countries in the world, along with communist China and North Korea, that says, yeah, up until 36 weeks, 9 months, kill it. Kill it. You don't want it? Kill it. She's a radical and an extremist on abortion. And Tim Walz, her running mate in his state, passed a law that if a baby is born during a botched abortion, even in the 9th month, and by the way, 5 babies happened. This happened to 5 babies. They were born in a botched abortion. They were completely viable. They were living, breathing. They were going to live. They would have been adopted within 2 days. They killed a live baby. Pure infanticide. Now, it's disgusting. That's Kamala Harris. That's her campaign. I'm telling you, in a nutshell. She's a radical on abortion and Trump derangement syndrome. That's it. That's it. You can't win on this. No way. 750 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, let me ask you. It's the Kuhner Country poll question of the day. Du jour, as the French would say. Sponsored by Mario's. Mario's Quality Roofing, Siding, and Windows. Do you believe Kamala Harris would actually shoot an intruder during a home invasion? She told Oprah she's got a gun. And if somebody ever broke into her home, bang, bang, bang. Do you believe that Kamala would actually shoot a home invader? I'm just curious. A, yes. B, no. Yeah, I played the cut there, Mike. Mike, I wouldn't want you to focus on the show too much, Mike. Have I play? I'll tell you what, Mike. I'll play it for you again because Mike's asking me if I played the cut. Yes, I played the cut, Mike. Okay, Mike. So let's roll cut 5. This is a Kamala Harris, Comrade Kamala, on with Oprah, saying not only is she a gun owner, doggone it, she's Cowboy Kamala. You break into her home, you're a dead man. Roll cut 5, Mike.
These are just common sense.
I thought it was so powerful at the convention when you said you have guns. No, at the debate.
I'm a gun owner. Tim Walz is a gun.
I did not know that.
If somebody breaks in my house, they're getting shot.
Yes. I hear that. I hear that.
Probably should not have said that.
Oh, so authentic. Oh, so sincere. So real. No, she'd give them amnesty. This woman does not, I'm telling you, she puts nobody behind bars, especially criminals. So, no, she would, it's the opposite. Somebody invaded her home, she'd say, take it. Here, all my money. Hold on, let me sign you up for free health insurance. Huh? What do you want? College? You want to go to college? I mean, because, guys, this is not really a professional robbery here, to be honest. You guys should really learn. Listen, I'm going to send you to criminal justice. They're going to show you how to do a proper robbery, okay? There's a way to do these things in a professional way. This woman, she doesn't want to send anybody to jail if they go in and rob a place for it and they steal less than $1,000. Anything under $1,000, she won't even prosecute. And this woman's going to shoot somebody? Yeah, I don't think so. I don't. She'd give him a medal. So, but that's just me. I want to hear from you. Would Kamala shoot a home intruder? A, yes. B, no. I'm a B all the way, baby. I think I've never been more certain of anything in my life. But that's me. You can vote on our webpage, WRKO.com/Kuhner, Kuhn is in national ER, WRKO.com/Kuhner, Kuhn is in national ER. You can also vote via X, my handle there, at the Kuhner Report, all one word, KUHNER. Okay, lines are loaded. Eddie in Boston. Thanks for holding, Eddie, and welcome.
Hello. You got stronger as the week went on. It's like a miracle, all that energy from the joy of Kamala.
Well, that's what she does for me, Eddie. She just gives me so much hope and enthusiasm. And look, I have pneumonia, Eddie, but I'm getting better and stronger because of Kamala.
Well, keep enjoying that joy. I think that interview or sit down with Oprah was some kind of, I don't know what it is with Oprah. When she showed up at the convention the last time, I don't know if you saw that video that came out pretty much right after she was done. She said, that's it. I've done my part for this campaign. I'm done. I'm going home. And then they dragged her into this mock interview. Do you think she's doing this as some kind of payback for something that maybe she could have been involved in?
Well, Eddie, that's a great question. Look, I mean, you've got that whole P. Diddy now scandal. I mean, not just that he's been arrested and he's not going to be released on bail, but they've got all of this videotape. This idiot taped everything. And, you know, Eddie, I got to be careful. It's a family show, so I have to be careful how I describe this. But we're talking orgies, wild sex nights, serious hardcore drugs with very young kids, both boys and girls. And apparently top Hollywood celebrities were there. And it was women celebrities acting, you know, with lesbian celebrities, going all out, gay celebrities having gay sex with gay celebrities, children. And, you know, he called it a freak out or freak off, whatever his name is. But in other words, just go into my mansion and just party like there's no tomorrow. Party till 6 o'clock in the morning. And you can do cocaine, you can do heroin, you can do any drug under the sun. And we're talking, you know, group sex, I mean, the whole thing. And very powerful politicians are now being implicated. But Obama has been bragging, caught on tape. You don't party until you've gone to a P. Diddy party. It goes on and on. So Oprah and P. Diddy were close. Oprah and P. Diddy, apparently she was a big booster of P. Diddy. So what did she do at those parties? What did Kamala do at those parties? What did Bill Clinton do at those parties? He was at those parties. So this is something now that's going to nail a lot of powerful Democrats and powerful Hollywood elites. So they have to get Kamala elected if they want to sweep all this under the rug. And I think the other part, Eddie, is, look, Rasmussen reports, look at their track record. They're one of the most reliable polling firms in the last 10 years. If they're not 100% right, they're like, 98.6% right. In other words, if they're off by a bit. They've got Trump now pulling away 8%. Latest tracking poll, Rasmussen, it's everywhere. Trump is now +8. This is going to be a landslide. And they're panicking. Kamala's people are panicking. They called up Oprah, and she's one of the most well-known people on television. Huge audience, huge following. A lot of women listen to her and watch her. And they said, Oprah, you got to pull my chestnuts out of the fire. And so they scripted, this is not an interview, this was a rally. And they scripted something together to try to, again, if you notice, make her seem as ordinary, as moderate, as innocuous as possible. She loves everybody. Everybody's her neighbor, Eddie. Eddie, she won't touch your guns, Eddie. Eddie, she's going to create an opportunity society. What does that mean? She doesn't want to tell us. Eddie, don't worry. Everybody's going to do well. How? Don't worry. I'm going to bring all your costs down. How? Don't worry. Feel the joy. Feel the vibe. Hey, Oprah loves me. Hollywood loves me. Come on now. Let's all dance together. So they're trying to soothe us, massage us, manipulate us into thinking everything's going to be fine. Just pull the lever for Kamala. And to their shock and horror, the more they try to prop her up, Eddie, the more the polls turn against her. What say you?
Well, it's impossible to prop up an empty suit. The only way an empty suit is standing is with a mannequin. Kamala is the perfect mannequin. It's like you push a button, she repeats the same words. She doesn't even understand half the words I think she's saying because the way she puts them together makes no sense. She just repeats cliches and gestures the same exact way. So she is a mannequin, a chameleon, a total empty airhead.
You know, Eddie, I got to say, I love your analogy. It's a very powerful analogy. You know, to have an empty suit, you got to have a mannequin. And, someone's, in other words, she's a puppet. And to have a puppet, you have to have a puppeteer, a puppet master. And that's what she is. She's a puppet. And she's obviously a puppet for Obama. There's no question. And the problem is, Joe could at least half sell it, that he was his own man. She can't. It's so, when you look at her, you go puppet, 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 puppet. And that's why this public relations offensive is not working. Eddie, dynamite call. Dynamite call. I think he nailed it. 617-266. I mean, seriously, look, leave aside her policies, just all that off the table. Okay, in all honesty. Doesn't she really come across, obviously, as a puppet? As an empty suit? When you just look at her and you say, no, there's someone pulling her strings. I mean, someone obviously is pulling her strings. She just comes across as an empty suit. She just does. See, that's the problem with their marketing campaign. There's nothing to sell. There's no there. Or, that old Wendy's commercial. Where's the beef? There's no beef. Okay, 8 o'clock. You know what that means? Kuhner's call log. Caller of the week.
It's time for Kuhner's Call Log, where we showcase our favorite caller from the week.
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Thanks for holding, Darren.
I'm a lifetime union guy. I retired a year and a half ago, and I am terrified of what the Democratic Party has become, and I don't understand the Teamsters coming out and say they're not supporting either one. I was in the field my entire career. I would say in 2016, maybe Trump had 40% of the guys in the field vote. 2020, probably 60%. But then when I retired, I would say they're all behind Trump. I look at what's going on, and the parties have flipped. When I graduated, I started looking at who I'm going to vote for the first time, and I looked at how things were when there was a Democrat in office and a Republican in office. And I went, hey, I think I'd be better off if there was a Republican. And I voted for Reagan. But I've been a union guy, and it's like, why don't these people see exactly what's happening? But they're so short-sighted. There's so much on the line on this one, and I just hope the guys out there, if there's union guys listening, forget about the wallet for a minute and think about your family.
And next week, it could be you on Kuhner's Call Log.
Please, don't be a stranger. Call again. The only thing I disagreed with, and by the way, it was a phenomenal call. Again, outstanding call. Completely right. Blue-collar workers now are flocking to Trump. Union workers are now flocking to Trump. He's going to win the working class vote by a decisive margin now in this election, which is really remarkable because the working class used to be a solid Democratic bloc. So it really shows you how the parties have changed and how there's a major political realignment taking place. The parties are changing, our politics are changing, everything is changing, really. And, we're living through it like the eye of the hurricane, but really, what's happening now is going to be written about in history books. How there was a great sea change in American politics during the Trump era. The only slight disagreement I have with the caller was when he said to all of his union buddies, hey, forget your wallet, vote for your family. No. Vote for your wallet and your family. Believe me, Kamala is gonna clean out that wallet. So vote both your wallet and your family. And really, I'm really serious as a heart attack. In this election, don't even vote. Look, don't vote for your children. Don't vote for your grandchildren. Don't vote for your country. Vote your self-interest. That's it. That's all I'm asking you to do. Because if she wins, inflation is going to go right through the roof. The cost of living is going to go right through the roof. I'm telling you, the middle working class is going to get wiped out. We're going to be paying taxes through the nose. So just vote your self-interest. That's all I'm asking. If you just do that, we're good. Agree, disagree? Dan in Plymouth. Thanks for holding, Dan, and welcome.
Hey, good morning, Jeff. This is Nurse Dan for Congress.
Hi, Dan.
Jeff, Trump's greatest asset is when Kamala Harris speaks. At least when Joe Biden was speaking, they could attribute his misrepresentation of the truth as a gaffe, blame it on his age or on an ailment. Kamala has no excuse, and that's her greatest liability. It's also Trump's greatest asset. And I think Trump should encourage Kamala to talk as much as she could possibly talk off the cuff.
Well, Dan, look, Dan, you're making a very good point. And look, you know me, I can't stand Joe Biden. I think he should be behind bars. I think he should go to jail for the rest of his life for treason and bribery and corruption. Okay, so please don't think I'm softening on Joe Biden. I'm not. But again, to give Dementia Joe his due, if you were to ask Joe Biden, are you better off now than you were 3.5 years ago? Or what are you going to do to lower the cost of my groceries or my cost of living? You know, he would tell you something like, I don't know, the Petroleum Strategic Reserve. You know, we're emptying it out. You know, whatever. Or, well, we're trying to drill more. And you say, well, that's a lie. That's not true. But at least he's giving you something. Okay? He's giving you, it's a lie, but it's an answer. Okay? It's some kind of a solution. With this one, this is what I find incredible, Dan. It's this, I come from a middle-class family. What? Okay. Well, actually, you don't come from a middle-class family, but who cares? Well, I understand your dreams, Dan. I understand your aspirations, Dan. Dan, the American dream, it's slipping away for too many people. And you're looking at her like, okay, yeah, okay, what are you going to do about it? So I'm just going to lower the cost of everything, okay? And thanks for the question, Dan. I mean, it's such obvious BS. It's like she reminds me of the class airhead who wants to be class president. And she goes up and she does her spiel and everyone's looking at each other and laughing at her like she's not saying anything. It's just blah, 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 blah. You know, at least with Joe Biden, sure, it was BS, but it's like, free soft drinks for, free sodas. I want free sodas for everybody. We're going to have pizza every day at the cafeteria. Yeah, okay, yeah. I mean, it's BS, but what the hell? Yeah, okay, it's something. But no, Dan, this is the territory now we're beginning. We're just entering it now. And this is why I want to get your take. Because you're saying, Jeff, let Trump debate Kamala. And when he debates Kamala, just let her talk. And she'll hang herself. She'll sink herself. But it's getting to the point now, if the Rasmussen poll is accurate, and I believe it is, you're already down by 8. Why do you need to debate her? In other words, she's destroying herself. She has to do interviews. So she's doing these puff celebrity interviews. But every puff celebrity interview she does, her polls get lower and lower and lower and lower. So when your opponent is in quicksand and they're just sinking, my attitude is stay out of the way. Let her sink. At this point, Dan, would you advise him to do a debate? I would say, hey, Donald, she can't handle an Oprah interview. Let her keep talking. This is our election to lose now. Why risk a debate? I mean, that would be my advice. What say you?
We've endured 3.5 years of a cognitively impaired president. I believe that the voters are getting very leery of 4 more years of a vapid president. I do believe, though, that if Trump were to debate Kamala one more time, and if he just stayed on the economy and not talk about dogs and cats, he will crush her. He will close the deal. He'll seal the deal, and then he can seal the border. So I think one more debate will be the kill blow, and we'll have 4 years of sanity.
Interesting. Dan, let me throw it open to the audience, okay? I love it. I love this take. Dan says Trump needs one more kill shot. Have one more debate with Kamala. Be very disciplined. Just focus on the economy, inflation, the border, real bread and butter issues. And if Trump does that, this thing is over. Good night, Irene. Agree, disagree with the way the campaign is now going. Should Trump do another debate with Comrade Kamala? Yes or no? I want to hear from you, Kuhner Country. 617-266-6868 is the number. And coming up later in the show, you got to hear it, a new song about Trump that's roaring up the charts. And on the great WRKO, Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, so let me ask you, what do you think now should Trump do regarding a debate? He is starting to pull away in the polls. Do you think he needs to do a debate? Or do you think, hey, you know the expression, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. His campaign now seems to be clicking on all cylinders. Kamala now is starting to collapse in the polls. You know what they say? When your enemy is in the process of destroying themselves, just stay out of the way. Should Trump do one more debate? Yay or nay? Up or down? Rocco in Linfield. Thanks for holding, Rocco, and welcome.
Jeff, I don't think he should do another debate, but if he does, he wins either way, because Kamala Harris sounds like a first or second grade school teacher, no, substitute school teacher, who's unprepared and does not understand the curriculum. It's just beyond her comprehension.
Well, you know, Rocco, you make a very good point, and not only does she sound utterly incompetent and honestly buffoonish at times, but have you noticed it's the same scripted talking points? It's like her speech at the convention, and she just rehashes it over and over. Same words, same lines, same delivery. It's like she has a 40-minute tape in her head. And that's all she can repeat. That's all she can regurgitate. I mean, am I wrong, Rocco?
You're 100% right. And I honestly think what they did was they drugged her up for like a week, and they went over the same speech again and again and again. So anytime the questions come up, she just goes to that speech.
Rocco, Rocco, before I let you go, I want to ask you this, my friend. If you were advising Trump, you're his consigliere, his right-hand man, his advisor, and they come to you and they say, hey, look, Kamala's people are saying, let's do one more. We'll do it. Fox News, NBC News, CBS, let's do it. One more. Third debate now. You did one with Biden. Tim Walz and J.D. Vance are going to do their debate. So let's do one more debate, you versus Kamala. What would you tell him? Do it, don't do it.
I would do it only on the grounds that he made sure it wasn't a set-up and a fixed fight 5 against 1 like they usually do.
I agree with you. Yes, Rocco, go ahead.
Okay, this is a clip from Oprah. Mike, play track 18. As a celebrity friend, I've got Nicole Kidman, the Secretary of State.
Well, Rocco, did you hear that Hillary Clinton now has come out and said that she wants to serve in the Kamala Harris administration? The Harris-Walz administration? I think, forget Nicole Kidman, I think Hillary wants to be Secretary of State. Can you believe that? Boy, that woman, huh? I mean, that woman, I'm telling you. This one, I mean, does she love, I mean, she's gonna clutch to power. Like into the grave, literally in her casket. There she'll still be grasping for power. 617-266-6868. Aaron in Idaho. Thanks for holding, Aaron, and welcome.
As Teddy Roosevelt would say, bully to you, sir. Keep up the history lessons. Don't ever stop talking about your ancestors from Croatia.
Thank
Man,
you, Aaron.
Jeff, I wish I could talk to you for 30 minutes. I'm actually glad I didn't get through last week. I couldn't get through it all last week, but I'm glad I didn't get through because at first I didn't like the debate, but to my surprise, a whole lot of people didn't like the debate either, but not because of Trump, but because of Kamala. Remember I told you my sister-in-law said she couldn't vote for Trump because he's a convicted felon now. My sister-in-law was like, what the hell is an opportunity economy? And I convinced my brother he was going to sit this election out. I sent him clips of Kamala Harris saying, I'm going to ban fracking. I'm going to ban private health insurance. And my brother told me, I'm not voting for Trump. I'm voting against that woman. Well, so long as the job gets done. But I want to point out another big point here. Even liberals don't believe Kamala Harris right now. I told you, I go to liberal websites to check on the other side. I thought they'd be angry that they're saying that she's now pro-fracking. She's now pro-tax cuts. Not a peep. They're not even a little bit angry. In fact, I went to Vox.com. They were complaining about Tim.
Hold on, Aaron. Can you hold on, buddy? We're up against the break. I'm going to come right back to you. No, that is a really good point. You know she's not serious because as she reverses herself, the left doesn't care. Why? Because they know she doesn't mean it. 8:31 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, let's go right back to Aaron in Idaho. He is doing the Lord's work. So he's got his sister voting for Trump. He's got his brother. Is it brother or brother-in-law, Aaron?
My brother and my sister-in-law. No, they're not Democrats. They're Romney Republicans. They think we can win by being happy and nice. We already tried that, and it didn't work.
Well, you got them voting against Kamala, i.e. pulling the lever for Trump. You're doing the Lord's work, and you got cut off, so please pick up where you left off, Aaron.
Points I want to make real quick. Even liberals know she's lying about the issues. I went to liberal websites, and they were complaining about Tim Walz promoting football. Ooh, it's a violent sport. It should be banned because of concussions. Like, really? You're not even going to talk about she's for fracking now? But they were telling themselves, it's okay, she's lying. She's just saying that to win Pennsylvania. Once she wins Pennsylvania, she'll ban fracking. But if I were to advise Trump, I would say, go full panic porn yourself with Kamala's policies. The Democrats talking about freedom, freedom, freedom. Hello, COVID. You locked us in our homes for 2 years. You call that freedom? They want to ban freedom of speech now. No gas stoves, no gas-powered cars, $10 a gallon gasoline, show an attack ad with empty grocery store shelves. But one final point, Jeff, I want to mention. Speaking of Romney, you were talking about earlier about stupid issues. Remember in the 2012 election when Romney was asked, what's the first thing you're going to cut? And he said Sesame Street. And even I banged my head against the wall. The internet exploded with memes of Romney trying to kill Big Bird in Elmo.
Well, I forgot about that, but you're completely right. No, and Aaron, look, this is the big story of this election. You know, I mentioned a couple segments ago, I said, we're living through historic times. We don't feel it because we're in the eye of the hurricane. But how the Republican Party is changing, transforming, it's becoming a working class, blue-collar labor party. Well, the other thing that's going on is all of the neoconservatives, the warmongering neocons, they're all voting for Kamala. So you've got Dick Cheney. That's right, Dick Cheney. You remember him, Aaron. He was the arch villain of the left and the liberals under Bush. He was one of the key architects of the Iraq War. They called him Hitler. They called him a war criminal. They wanted him in The Hague. Dick Cheney now says he's supporting Kamala Harris. Liz Cheney supporting Kamala. George W. Bush, W. Remember they called him Hitler? It was Bush, Cheney, Hitler, Halliburton. They spit on these guys. Bush has now come out saying he's neutral. That he's not voting for Trump, but he says he's not going to vote for Kamala. But basically he's saying wink, wink. He's siding with Kamala. So the Bush family says they're neutral. Romney, speaking of Mittens, as you mentioned him, they savaged him in 2012. Remember, they mocked him. The dog that he had in a kettle that he put on the roof of his car. They said he was mistreating animals, that he wasn't paying his taxes, that this guy was Genghis Khan. Biden said in front of an all-black audience, if Romney wins in 2012, he's going to put you all back in chains. They slandered the guy. They spit on the guy. He's neutral. He's neutral. He says he's not voting for Trump. He's neutral. So, all of the neoconservatives, this is what I find disgusting on the left. All of these that gave us the disastrous war in Iraq, the disastrous war in Afghanistan, the disastrous border, the disastrous free trade with China, all of these neoconservatives who the left said they wanted in the dock, not only are they backing Kamala, but the Democrats are warmly embracing them, saying, please come to us. We want you. Dick, we love you. Mitt, we love you. W, we love you. The Democratic Party has now become the party of war, of militarism, and of non-stop military interventionism. The very people that they used to decry and hate, they now kiss on both cheeks. The parties, in many ways, have now reversed themselves. And these stupid Democrats can't even see it because they're blinded by their hatred for Trump. So, they're actually now welcoming war criminals. Those who gave us that disaster in Iraq. And they're bragging, look at all these Republicans that are going to vote for Kamala, that are endorsing for Kamala. Yeah, you mean the ones that gave us the disaster in Iraq? Really? The disaster in Afghanistan? The endless wars in the Middle East? That has bankrupted this country and cost the lives of how many of our young soldiers? The Democratic Party is controlled by the military-industrial complex from head to toe. They're owned by the oligarchs. And now we know definitively, Aaron, that the neoconservatives under Bush never gave a damn about us or the American people. They were there to line their pockets and serve their paymasters. And now the elites have joined together in an unholy alliance against Trump. The Democrats are now a globalist party dominated by oligarchs. The Republicans under Trump are now a working middle-class populist party of the people, by the people, for the people. Agree, disagree, 617-266-6868. It's a Friday. Let's have some fun. Let me throw dislog on the fire. What the hell? Let's have a bonfire today. What do you make of the fact that Dick Cheney, okay, Dick, is now endorsing Kamala Harris? Mitt Romney is now neutral. The Bush family, and George W. Bush in particular, neutral. Are we now seeing the end of the Republican old guard? And are you disappointed in the Bushes and the Cheneys and the Romneys? 617-266-6868. Betty in Quincy. Thanks for holding, Betty, and welcome.
Hey, Jeff, how's it going?
Very good. How are you, Betty?
Good, good. Hey, Jeff, let me just say, as far as the debates, absolutely end to the frickin' O. Trump should not do any more debates. I mean, to give her any opportunity to sit there and spew lie after lie, no way. And it's, I think it's just funny how they're all jumping ship, Cheney and all those guys. You know what? Trump should just distance himself from all of them. And, it's really clear to see. And hopefully they can see through this Trump derangement syndrome, but no way on the debate. He should do more like Gutfeld the other night was hysterical. And he has such a big audience, too, not just Republicans, but he should do more stuff like that. And can I just say one thing, Jeff? On the whole assassination attempt, I think he should go to a disclosed area. I think he should blast it all over Times Square. He should do like a Zoom all across the country and just do what he needs to do. His record speaks for itself. I don't think, no on the debates for me, for sure.
Well, Betty, that you and I are simpatico on that. I mean, I think on everything, but especially on this. Look, this is the only analogy that comes to my mind. Kamala, seriously, in quicksand. And she's going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And we know the media, it's going to be 5-on-1. It's going to be the two moderators, Kamala, and then people upstairs, the owners and the management, who are going to be feeding the moderators the questions. So it's 5-on-1. So I'm like, why would you do that? I mean, at this point, she's going down. They're going to try to throw her one last lifeline and try to push him into the quicksand. I'm thinking at this point, stay away. Hey, lady, you wanted this? You got this. So I'm a believer that when your opponent is in the process of sinking themselves, let them sink. He doesn't need the debate. She does. Betty, thank you very much for that call. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, double-barreled question. What do you make now of a possible debate between Trump and Kamala? Do you think Trump should do it? Does he need it? Many of you say, Jeff, yes. Deliver the ultimate kill shot. Take nothing for granted. And the Cheneys, the Bushes, the Romneys, do you feel they've betrayed you and us? 8:49 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. I'm going to play the song later in the next hour, I promise. It's called Fighter by John Kahn. It's a brilliant song. It's about Donald Trump. It is rocketing up the iTunes charts. In fact, I believe, Mike or Sandy, can you check this for me? I think it's now top 5, is it not? I believe, yeah, it's top 5. I mean, it's roaring up the charts. The video is even, the song itself is great, don't get me wrong. But when you combine it with the video, it is extremely powerful. It is very, very moving. And, look, it's another sign. It's just another sign that Trump has all the wind at his back. All the momentum now is behind him. And so the question is, should Trump do one more debate? Yay or nay? What say you? 617-266-6868. Dan in Dartmouth. Thanks for holding, Dan, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff.
Hi, Dan.
Hey, so just want to say that I don't believe that Trump should debate. But if he did, he could ask her this question. He could ask her, well, obviously, you've slept your way to the top. How many abortions have you had? But on a more serious note, I just want to say this. They are trying to do this to make it look and appear that she is neck to neck with Donald Trump. In fact, if you look at like NBC polls and ABC polls, they have her a little ahead in a lot of the states. In fact, this Hollywood scam is really now taking another level with these Hollywood, celebrity interviews and things of that nature. They just need to make it look plausible for the steal to take place. And that's my concern. Trump could be just trouncing her all over, although, for the moon bats, it's plausible. And it's an easy thing to do to just vote the party, and she's good enough. We had to vote Biden last time, my God. She's better than Biden, at least the way she looks and the way that she reads the teleprompter. That said, you have to then also take a look at, and I'm not sure if you ever saw the interview with Tucker Carlson interviewing Judge Michael Gableman about his investigation on the Wisconsin 2020 elections and the election fraud that took place there. But what occurred there and what's still happening today is registration of voters. The voter rolls are just out of control. Through a group called ERIC, which is Election Registration Information Center, they are registering so many people on the rolls that in Wisconsin there's 4 million people. 3 million are potential registered voters in Wisconsin. Guess how many are on the actual rolls in Wisconsin?
I have no idea.
7 million people. 7 million people.
Ay.
Now, Eric, just to give you an example here, they're signing up states all over. So they are in Alaska, Arizona, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Georgia, Illinois, Kentucky, Maine, Massachusetts, Maryland, Michigan, Minnesota, Nevada, New Jersey, New Mexico, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina, Utah, Vermont, Washington, and Wisconsin. So this is the reason why now they're going out and they are saying there's going to be a lot of violence during the period of time when they're counting votes. We have to protect the election workers because they're going to be counting votes. Well, they're going to be counting votes for like days afterwards because they're just like the Federal Reserve. They'll be printing ballots like crazy, pulling it off of the ERIC list. And this is my concern, is that they have, to their availability, dead voters, and then they have the ability to pull off any voters that are from, say, illegal immigrants that have, got a driver's license. I mean, they're loaded with the potential to go ahead and print off these ballots.
Well, Dan, look.
Based on the ERIC list.
Dan, I'm making an obvious joke now to prove but Dan, are you having an affair with my wife? Why? Because, that's what Grace has been saying nonstop. I'm like, is Dan and my wife, is there something going on here? Dan, honestly, all kidding aside, that's been my wife's argument now for many months, that she's saying, listen, they're not going to let him back in. And if they have to kill him, they will. But they are going to try to steal it, and they're going to do everything they can on election night to steal it. And she says, we've got to be ready. We have to be ready, because she agrees with you completely. And just to reinforce what you're saying, and I know you didn't mention this state, I understand, but to me, this is what's concerning. Look at a red state like Oklahoma. In fact, there's an argument about which is the reddest state in the country. So there's a couple that are up there. You can make an argument that Oklahoma is maybe the most conservative, the reddest of the reddest states in the union. Okay, you can make that argument. Well, they just came out yesterday, or 2 days ago, don't quote me on this, either 24 or 48 hours ago, and they had to purge their voting rolls. In Oklahoma, you don't get more conservative than Oklahoma. They found 450,000 ineligible voters. Illegals were registered, Non-citizens were registered. They then found 100,000 dead people registered. And I don't mean, hey, they've been dead for the last 30, 40 years and nobody just bothered to take them off the voting rolls. I mean, they're dead, but someone is voting on their behalf. So if you've got pretty rampant voter fraud in Oklahoma, then no state is safe. So I agree with you. Look, there's no question they're going to load it up. That's why they've brought in all the illegals. That's exactly why Biden and Harris brought in all the illegals. Look, there was stunning testimony, okay? This was in front of Congress. And his name is Peter, I think it's Heike, how you pronounce his last name. If I'm mangling, sorry, Aaron, my bad. It's Aaron Heike. If I'm mangling his last name, I apologize. Heitke. This story was on the Daily Wire. And in fact, I tweeted about it on X last night, and it got a lot of play. Now, I want everybody, please, just stand back. You need to hear this. This is a long-time chief of the Border Patrol. He's got decades of experience. In fact, he oversaw for a period the entire northern border between Canada and the United States. So we're not talking about some, junior officer. Under Kamala and Biden in 2022, 2023, Aaron Heike was in charge of the San Diego sector. Okay, the part of the California border that crosses with Mexico. Okay, is tied to Mexico. Now, why is this Jeff? Why are you mentioning Aaron Heike? According to Aaron Heike, the testimony is bone-chilling. It's bone-chilling. He said never before, I've served in 5 administrations, under 5 administrations, never did we see so many people come in such a short period of time as we did under Biden-Harris. And not only were they coming in, we were told explicitly, you cannot deport these people back to their countries of origin. So, deportation off the table. Then they cut the detention centers. They cut funding. So we couldn't even hold them. So he says what ended up happening is all we did was we were just processing them. Basically, name, where are you from? Here's an ID number in the country. He said it got so bad. Okay, I'm quoting him now verbatim. It eventually took 80, 90, and at times, listen to this, 100% of all Border Patrol agents off of their sectors, off of the border. So, it got so many that were coming in. He said we would get groups of hundreds, sometimes thousands, within several hours. Because it went all around the world. The Americans aren't deporting anybody. Come on, now is your time to go. So everybody said, we're going. So he says what that means is, in Arizona, in Texas, in New Mexico, and in California, literally, we had no agents on the border. And he said this is what it led to. Terrorists would just walk in. There was nobody to catch any terrorist. No terrorist could be caught. They just literally, if they didn't want to get their name signed and registered, they just walk in. Why? Because there's no Border Patrol agents to stop them. Why? Because they're at the freaking registration centers registering all these illegals because they're coming in record numbers. Now, here's the catch. Here's the catch. Okay, listen to this, Dan. This is according now to Aaron Heike. He said, let me tell you, in previous administrations, when we were registering migrants or whatever, illegals, okay, at these detention centers and we're processing them, we would catch maybe 10 or 15 terrorists, those with ties to terrorism. Under Kamala and Biden, there were hundreds. He goes, I'm telling you, hundreds. And that's not even counting the gotaways, the ones that just walked across the border because there's not a border patrol agent anywhere to be seen. So we were sending reports. This is Heike now. We were sending reports to the vice president, to the head of the Department of Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas, and to Dementia Joe, saying terrorists are flooding our country. Here it is. Name, country of origin. Here it is. Here, literally. Paper after paper after paper after paper. Name after name after name. Heike, we were given a direct order from Harris and from Biden. Shut up. Close your mouth. Do not let the public know that there has now been an explosion of illegal immigrant terrorists pouring into our country. Keep it on the down low. Keep it to yourself. Now, Heike told the shocked committee, their jaw was on the floor. They were like, just thunderstruck, mouth wide open. He said, I can't go to motives. I don't know the motives. Either this was done out of colossal incompetence and negligence, or it was done deliberately. He goes, I don't know. But I'm telling you, this is what was done. And he said the numbers that have come in over the last 3.5 years, he goes, as someone who's been there 25, 30 years, absolutely unprecedented. He goes, we couldn't believe it was a sea of humanity that overwhelmed us across the southern border. Now, I am telling you, Dan, you take this to the bank. Number one, this was not negligence. This was deliberate. I know it. Those are votes. Those are votes that they said, you know what? If we got to load up 5 million, we'll do 5. If we need 10, we'll go 10. If we need 15, we'll do 15. So that was their voter insurance policy. And the next one is, we're going to bring in terrorists to cause as much chaos in this country because they want to suspend our freedoms and our liberties. Who the hell, as I said yesterday on X, I go, this is sedition. You are knowingly allowing known terrorists to come into our country? Are you mad? Are you mad? And the only action that you take is to order the Border Patrol? Order them. Don't you dare let the public know about this. In other words, cover it up. Let them in and then cover it up. Last point. And it all comes full circle now. Matt Gaetz has now come out, because he sits on some of these sensitive committees, says that now they were given an intelligence briefing. According now to our own intelligence agencies, there are 5 assassination groups in the country that our intelligence community knows of. 3 of them are foreign, that want to assassinate and kill Donald Trump. 5 assassination teams, or groups, however you want to call them. 3 of them from foreign countries. I'll bet you one of them is from Iran. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. And they've lost track of them. They were allowed in under that wide open southern border, and they've lost track. And Matt Gaetz is saying to President Trump, watch your back. Watch your back. Now, I'm connecting a dot. Matt Gaetz did not say this. I'm saying this. I think a reason why they allowed terrorists to come in was not just to wreak havoc and to sow chaos and to destroy us from within, because ultimately they want to impose martial law and strip away our freedoms and our liberties. They want another 9/11 style attack. Why? So they can do another Patriot Act and more surveillance and more spying. But I also think deep down, I think it's pretty obvious. If Trump rears his ugly head again, kill him. Bring in foreign terrorists who want to kill Donald Trump. Now, I'm going to play Heike. Okay? Here's Aaron Heike. Don't take my word for it. Listen to him. This is chilling testimony. The Biden regime wouldn't let him release all of this information. They called them significant interest aliens. That's the legal Border Patrol term for illegals tied to terrorist groups. So they're people of significant interest. So aliens with ties to terrorism, they're called SIAs, significant interest aliens. Listen now to what Heike says. If this doesn't make your blood curdle, nothing will. Roll cut 15, Mike.
In San Diego, we had an exponential increase in significant interest aliens. These are aliens with significant ties to terrorism. Prior to this administration, the San Diego sector averaged 10 to 15 SIA arrests per year. Once word was out the border was far easier to cross, San Diego went to over 100 SIAs in 2022, well over that in 2023, and even more than that registered this year. These are only the ones we caught. At the time, I was told I could not release any information on this increase in SIAs or mention any of the arrests. The administration was trying to convince the public there was no threat at the border.
I mean, this is criminal. This is unbelievable. I'm telling you, this makes Watergate. I don't want anybody ever mention Watergate to me again. This makes Watergate look like a Sunday picnic. Again, the only thing, I love these Border Patrol guys. Please, don't get me wrong. I love them, okay, in a non-sexual way. But they talk in that kind of Border Patrol jargon, which takes some of the teeth out of the sting out of their testimony. When you mention SIAs, it kind of puts you to sleep. Look, significant interest aliens, SIAs, is the technical term for illegal alien terrorists. A significant interest alien is a person with ties to a foreign terrorist group. So he's saying, look, hundreds came in 2022, hundreds came in 2023. And they did this, and they let him in deliberately, and they told us, don't tell the public. Cover it up. Holy crap. What regime, what administration would do this? And you're going to vote for Kamala Harris? You're insane. I'm telling you, you're insane. You're a traitor. I'm telling you to your face. You're a traitor. And B, you're insane. You're insane. So, yeah, I'm with you all the way. Dan, all the way. Look, from this point forward, to me, I want Trump to do rallies. I want him to blitzkrieg the battleground states. I want him to campaign up and down. Don't get me wrong. Pedal to the metal. But as far as I'm concerned, this is now about preventing the steal. The election, as far as I'm concerned, is won. He's got the votes. He's got the support. He's won on the issues. He's got the agenda. He's coasting to victory. In a free and fair election, this thing is over. Except for the fat lady's got to sing. That's it. We're just waiting for the fat lady to sing. But it's the stealing part now. That's the part we have to focus on. But look, I'm telling you, this is unforgivable. This is unforgivable. Now, again, I've asked this question before. I've asked it a million times. where are the Republicans? Like, really, where are the Republicans? Like, what does it take? No, really, how many crimes, how many acts of treason and sedition does the Biden-Harris regime have to perpetuate before finally they say enough is enough? 9:20 on the great WRKO. I'm listening to this song coming in, and I'm like, I got a piece of land. Well, she's got Kamala's going to take that piece of land. She's 77? That's it? I thought she was older than that. Anyway, so apparently Hillary Clinton gave an interview, and she now is putting her foot forward saying, I would love to be either Secretary of State or Secretary of Defense. Can you imagine her running the Pentagon? I mean, this war in Ukraine would never end. It would never end. But anyway, the Hildebeest, Hillary Clinton, saying, Kamala wins. I'm offering my services, Secretary of State or Secretary of Defense. In other words, the warmongers are going to be in charge. And it's going to be endless wars in the Middle East, endless wars in Ukraine, probably endless wars even with China. So obviously now deals are being cut behind the scenes. 617-266-6868, 921 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's bulldozer. If Hillary Rotten Clinton is going to be running foreign policy or war strategy under a Kamala administration, man, run to the polling booth. You've got to vote for Trump because it's going to be 4 years of war. Kathy in Rochester. Thanks for holding, Kathy, and welcome.
Hi, Jeff. That was really amazing what you were talking about, that Aaron Hike story, and I'm going to listen to that on the Daily Wire. You know, I don't think that Donald Trump should do another debate, but I think what he should do at his next rally is start, you know, I love him, believe me, I love him as much as anyone does, but he has to stop talking about how wonderful he is, because we all know he's wonderful, and he has to start listing some facts. He should start talking about this guy, Aaron Hike, and talk about this. He should be talking about the 320,000 children that are missing. He should be talking about Planned Parenthood and how, you know, people who have children, you should be scared to death. If you have a son or a daughter now who is of fighting age, you should be scared to death that they could be, you know, sent across, you know, to a war in the Middle East. But Planned Parenthood, everything Donald Trump has told us, he has been 100% right on. Planned Parenthood is now in schools with their curriculum. They have what's called Planned Parenthood core curriculum in many schools. And what it is, it's comprehensive sex education. They even had this in South Carolina, which is a red state. They had it in Bluffton and Hilton Head. They had a summer camp. They were paying children $100 to attend this camp. But they are, you know, in schools teaching young kids as young as 10 years old about sex. Planned Parenthood is disgusting. So now we have Planned Parenthood teaching your children how to kill babies and how to have sex when they're young children. We have, you know, the Border Patrol letting all these illegals in that are killing our young girls, raping and murdering them. Then we have Hillary Clinton. She should be the Secretary of Hate, not the state. You know, they want to have wars. I mean, this is really scary, and people, you know, and I know all your listeners, we are awoke, but we need to share this information with the people we come across who, you know, say, oh, Donald Trump, I don't like Donald Trump. You need to lay these facts on the line and wake them up, because this administration, these demon rats, that's what they are, demon rats. They are demon rats, and they really are the worst of the worst. And, you know, I think Donald Trump, I can't wait until he gets back in office. We're going to have to go through some hell. But it's scary. They are really scary what they've done to our country. They are traitors, and they need to pay.
You know, Kathy, I agree with you. I mean, you're completely on fire. What kind of a person, what kind of a human being, what kind of a regime willingly allows terrorists to come into their country. That to me that's the one I can't wrap my mind around. And Kathy, many people say, Jeff, what can I do? What can I do to help? Honestly, I'm not trying to toot my own horn or stroke my own ego. Really, I think actually being proud is a sin. I really do. But look, I'm getting emails now, at least 2 that I've seen, multiple texts, at least maybe 3 or 4, where these are undecided voters or some of them liberals who say, Jeff, I listened to you to listen to the other side. I actually did look up what Peter Heike said, and it's true. It's true. I look at the transcript. It's true. And you've just changed my mind. I'm not going to vote for Kamala Harris. Now, I don't know if that means they're voting for Trump, but they're not going to vote for Kamala. So what I'm trying to say is this show, with the great callers that we have, with the information that we put out there, with the courage that we have, the bravery that we have, the guts to speak the truth, we are bringing people over to our side. And that's why one of the best things we can do, have them listen to the show. Just tell your friends, hey, look, you know what? You'll have a laugh. Okay? At the bare minimum. You may not agree with the guy, but you'll have a laugh. Listen to the Kuhner Report. And the more people we can get listening, the more potentially people we can open their eyes and get them to see what's really going on in our country. Look, this is something my grandfather taught me. When you have the truth, speak it. It's the most powerful weapon in the world. How about yes? Do me a favor for once, say yes. Okay, 9:32 here on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's bulldozer. So anyway, I wanted to ask Mike, just if you want to know what's going on off air, we're going to get to Kelly, I promise, in a second, and obviously all your calls. So I just wanted to ask Mike, I go, look, Mike, near the end of the show, can you let me know when there's about 3 minutes left? Okay, thank you, Sandy. So can you just play the song? And no, it's just incredible. That's what I have to deal with. Okay, anyway, joining me now, as she does always at this time, the former, the co-founder, the CEO, the head of Kelly Financial Services, and that is her wonderful name, Kelly. Kelly, how are you?
Good morning, Jeff. I am good. When listing their financial assets, many people think of stocks, bonds, home equity, and retirement accounts. And when listing their expenses, life insurance will often be included as a necessary expense in order to protect a family's future. Life insurance can be an ideal part of your investment strategy, complementing your fixed income assets and potentially reducing your tax liability. If you're not sure how life insurance falls into your overall retirement plan, Kelly Financial has a free investor guide that might help. It's called Life Insurance as an Asset Class, with information on tax advantages, living benefits, and diversification strategies. For the guide or to arrange a free retirement consultation, give us a call or email Kelly at kellyfinancial.org. Jeff, I will continue this conversation with our Kelly advisors tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. on Safe Money Strategies Radio. Do tune in or go to our website for our radio rewind. Jeff, have a wonderful weekend. My best to Grace and the kiddos.
Thank you. All the best to you and your family, Kelly. I urge all of you, call now for a free consultation, 888-800-1881. 888-800-1881, or better yet, you can email Kelly herself. She's the president and CEO of Kelly Financial Services. That's Kelly at kellyfinancial.org. Kelly at kellyfinancial.org. Okay, so all I wanted to ask was, Mike, can you do me a favor? No. I'm like, you haven't heard my question yet. No. And then, so anyway, the favor I was going to ask Mike is, can you just tell me 3 minutes before the end of the show that we have 3 minutes left? Because the song's about 2 minutes and 55 seconds. So I can set it up, and then we can play it. And I think it's a great way to end the show, end the week, and get people nice and ready for the weekend. And this is what I have to deal with on a daily basis. It's resistance everywhere. They never say yes. They just say no. Okay, but let that go. 617. And Mike, I still haven't heard anything in my ear. Well, maybe, Mike? You'll think about it? Yeah, prison rules. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, Mike, anytime you want me to go to a call, Mike, you let me know. Let me know who you want me to go to, Mike. Bruce in Franklin. Thanks for holding, Bruce, and welcome.
Hey, Jeff. Happy Friday to you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, I wanted to switch gears a little bit on what you've been talking about today, because that story that came out that Iran hacked into the Trump campaign and gave the information to the Biden campaign, or whatever you want to call it. What if that's true, and they had his schedule, and we've got 2 assassination attempts, and the first guy we know absolutely nothing about. It's another conspiracy theory, but it sounds plausible to me. What do you think?
No, Bruce, look, take this to the bank. It's not if, it is true. And the reason why it's true is the FBI admitted it, our intelligence agency admitted it, the Harris campaign admitted it. They were forced to admit. They said, well, hold on. Did you receive information from the Iranian regime that they had hacked into, all that info they hacked into the Trump campaign? And they said yes. So the Harris people have confirmed they got it. The CIA, the FBI, forgive me, and the intelligence community have confirmed that's what happened. And the Trump people have confirmed we were hacked into. Now, the excuse that the Kamala campaign is using is, well, we got it, but we've never seen it. Like, we didn't use it. Right. Yeah, okay, I'll believe that. Sure. Right. Now, in particular, just so that you know, Bruce, they got Trump's schedule. They got it. They got his strategies for how to win the battleground states. They even got the information about the polls or the drop boxes and the places where they think the steal is most likely going to take place. But they also got something else, Bruce, and this has been widely reported. Apparently, you know, when you pick a VP, you always have a vetting process. And so you keep a file, you know, just Trump was looking at JD. There's a file on JD Vance, on Vivek Ramaswamy, on, you know, whoever the top contenders were, Byron Donalds. Well, they had a file on JD. They hacked into that file as well. And they fed it to the Kamala campaign. Now, I don't know what they found in that file. I don't know what kind of dirt or whatever that, you know, you ask a candidate, hey, look, you know, between us, is there something in your past we need to know about? Because they'll find out about it. And so we're going to see during the debate, the Vance-Waltz debate on October 1st, whether Waltz comes out with, I don't know, when you were 22 years old, you know, did you have a DUI? Like, whatever, something. So they gave them the most sensitive intelligence, campaign intelligence from the Trump campaign. And as I said on X, and I want to repeat it, Bruce, how many years did we hear Trump-Russia collusion? And it was a complete lie, a complete hoax. Here we have them dead to rights. Dead to rights. No one's denying it now. Kamala-Iran collusion. And Iran is our mortal enemy. The very purpose of that regime since 1979 when it was installed is death to America. And they're collaborating and colluding with them? And Bruce, think about it. The mullahs have made it as public, as open as you possibly can. They've said it. We want Kamala to win. We want Trump to lose. We're directly interfering in the U.S. election to put Kamala over the top, up to and including stealing their sensitive campaign information, their campaign intelligence, their own files on their own VP, and we're handing it over to the Kamala team. Where's the media outrage? This is direct election interference. This is treason. Kamala and Biden are working with our mortal enemies in order to defeat and sink Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. This should be one of the biggest scandals in the world right now. And yet, because the media won't touch it with a 10-foot pole, you're hearing it here and maybe on a few other outlets. That's it. So, Bruce, I agree with you. I think they've compromised Trump's schedule, and it could be the Iranians that are working with the FBI to assassinate Trump. Final word to you, Bruce.
And you've kind of left me speechless because you filled me in on some of the details I wasn't aware of. But it was just something that occurred to me last night, and I hadn't heard anybody convey it. So I have a huge mistrust with the regime that's in power right now. It's just for the top. Yeah.
Well, they're desperate. You can see that. They're really desperate. They're crossing lines that you normally would never see crossed. And I think, Bruce, it's because they're afraid of being exposed. In fact, I know it's because they're afraid of being exposed. They're basically the political version of P. Diddy. Once the tapes come out, once the evidence comes out, it's all over. It's all over. Bruce, thank you very much for that call. Can I squeeze one more in? Boy, Mike, jeez. Mike, you're a real Debbie Downer today. I got it. Mike says no, I don't have time. So hang on. I'm going to take more of your calls. I promise. That's if Mike lets me. And The Fighter. You got to hear the song. Trust me, it is rocketing up the iTunes charts. More of your calls next. 9:47 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's bulldozer. Okay, we figured out why Mike is in such a cranky mood this morning. He probably didn't get much sleep because he watched the Patriots-Jets game last night. And, of course, the Pats lost. From what I heard, they pretty much got dismantled 24-3 by the New York Jets. So, and Mike is a huge Patriots fan. Now Mike, it all makes sense now. Okay, 617-266-6868 is the number. Verna in Arlington. Thanks for holding, Verna, and welcome.
Hey there, Jeff. Hi there. Good morning to everybody there, and prayers always for you and everybody on this
Thank you.
path. Yeah, you're welcome. I did want to let you know of a couple of things. My daughter, and you've met her in person too, works for a pregnancy center. So regarding the whole abortion issue, I wanted to let you know, and in fact, I'll send you the email as well. There is a statewide smear campaign against to destroy pro-life pregnancy centers and pregnancy centers in general, and it is being it's by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, so obviously the governor and all those people. It's spearheaded by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and partnered with a pro-abortion group called Reproductive Equity Now, REN, to discredit and dismantle every pro-life pregnancy center in the state. And on their website, that's the state's official website. They have a section dedicated to the so-called Avoid Anti-Abortion Centers Initiative. So I wanted to let you and your folks know about that. There's a statewide Massachusetts, and it's being spearheaded the against that is Mass Deception. ACLJ organization takes on the sinister state-funded smear campaign. So I will forward this email to you for your information. So I wanted to let everybody know that there is a Massachusetts statewide a thing going on against pregnancy centers.
Verna, thank you very much. I got to ask you this, because really, if you're, besides stealing the election, the only other strategy the Democrats have is really running on this radical position on abortion. And they believe that this radical extreme position on, really, abortion on demand, all the way up until 9 months, and force it on the whole country. Verna, are there that many American women, feminists, younger women, 20s, 30s, millennials, Generation Z, are they that obsessed with abortion that they'll literally vote on this issue alone and nothing else? I mean, do you believe that? I mean, I know there are some, but how many of them could there be? What's your theory on that?
I had a more detailed answer to give. My daughter probably would be a good source for that. From what I hear, no, that's not true, but I don't know that definitively. But it is a big thing. And like you said, Tim Walz is Minnesota, infanticide, and on the debate, why didn't they fact check Kamala? Why did they fact check and call Trump a liar around that,
That's a great point. Verna, that's an excellent point. Verna, have a great weekend, and thank you very much for that call. And by the way, do you know that most American women, not American women, liberal women, do not know? When you tell them this, it blows them away. You go, you know that in European countries, abortions are banned after 4 or 5 months. I think 5 is the top. As I said, it's a Sweden, the Scandinavian countries. But that's it. In the final trimester, it's all banned. Like, do you consider them right-wing fascist countries? And they're like, what? I go, yeah. They don't allow partial birth abortion, late-term abortion in the last 3 months of the pregnancy. And what, are they all not feminists now all of a sudden? They're not progressive anymore? So just that alone, when you throw that fact out and you go, you realize you're really a radical. You're an extremist on this issue. Kamala is an extremist on this issue. And that's when they start yelling and screaming. I mean, really, how much? Okay, you don't want the baby. Okay, first month, second month, third month. Okay, fourth month, it's starting to bulge now. You still don't want the baby? Okay, fifth month. No? Okay, sixth month. No, well, I'm sorry, make up your mind. Look, I'm pro-life all the way, don't get me wrong. But on the abortion issue, I'm telling you, that's why it's not going to be as potent as people say it is. Trump is the moderate on the issue. He's saying leave it to the states, and most of the states are leaving abortion legal. Take New Hampshire. It's legal up until the last trimester. So what I'm saying is they're going to be in for a rude awakening if they think abortion is going to put them over the top. It's not. Okay, Paul in New Bedford. Thanks for holding, Paul, and welcome.
Hey, Jeff, thanks for taking my call.
My pleasure, Paul.
All right, buddy. Listen, just a couple of notes here, Jeff. We have this weekend coming up here at Mattapoisett. We have Trump for America rally going on in Mattapoisett, which is South Coast. And that's this Sunday from 12 to 4 at the Columbus Night of Columbus in Mattapoisett. So if people want to come down Sunday and get behind Trump rally here in Mattapoisett this Sunday. Okay, so that's done. Jeff, I want to talk about, I think about the rallies, and Trump needs to go into like a situation where he's on offense, and now we have to worry about, these polls. And I think we have to worry about these polls that are lying right now, because they want to say Kamala is like behind by 5 or 10 points or whatever.
Well, I mean, look, Paul, no one's going to believe these polls. I'm telling you right now, nobody believes these polls. And it's going to become more and more obvious as the weeks go on. And you want to see how well Trump is doing? I want all of you to listen to this song. It's by John Kahn. It's called Fighter. And it's about Donald Trump. All of you have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy the song. Bye-bye.